everyone, welcome back. Today's video is part 2 in my top 3 in every makeup category. So today we're doing brows, eyes, and lips. I already did part 1, which was base and cheeks, so make sure you go back and watch that if you haven't seen it. I will link it above for you, but today we're doing part 2, and I am going to share, like I did in part 1, my top product from each category as well. So if I had to pick one from my top 3, I will share what that product would be as well. So that is today's video. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on my channel. I would love for you to subscribe, but let's just get right into the video. All right, let's go ahead and get started with brows. So we'll start with brow pencils. These were very easy for me to choose. I kind of find what I like with brows and I rarely kind of deviate from that. Y'all probably know what they are if you watch my videos all the time. Of course, my Anastasia Perfect Brow Pencil. This is kind of a relatively new find for me. I was in Ulta a few months ago. I don't know why. I was looking at the Anastasia stuff. I just picked this pencil up and I put it in my bag as soon as I swatched it. This is an eye powder pencil, so it's basically like you used a brow powder or an eyeshadow powder in your brows, but it's a pencil. I love how soft and completely realistic something like this looks in your brows. This is what I have in my brows right now, and it never looks too much, it never looks harsh. It takes 2 seconds to fill my brows in, and I really just kind of focus it in the areas where I have more sparse areas, which for me is kind of in this top area of my arch right here. So I focus it there, but honestly, this is just easy. It looks natural. I reach for this all the time. I also use this quite a bit for eyeliner. I love using a powder pencil like this for a little tiny liner flick. I didn't do that today, but I do that quite a bit just day to day. It's such a great brow pencil if you're into a soft natural brow but you don't want an actual brow powder, which I also have from Anastasia and I love it, but the pencil is just easier. You gotta give this one a try. However, there is another option that y'all have also seen me use, the NYX Powder Louder brow pencil. I use these interchangeably, so it just kind of depends on whichever one I have nearby as to which one I use, but this is basically the Anastasia one from NYX. So it's about half the price of the Anastasia one. This is kind of hard to find. Sometimes I can find it online and sometimes I can't. I was afraid for a while they were going to discontinue this. Hopefully they're not. But again, this is the same type of pencil. It's a powder pencil, so it looks soft, natural, very easy. You're not going to get super defined, I don't even know what to call it, just incredibly stark looking brows with something like this. This is going to give you very soft, natural looking brow hairs. And the other great thing about a powder pencil is because it's powder, if you mess up or you feel like you did too much in one area, powder is so easy to take a spoolie and just kind of go over it and it'll diffuse it almost immediately. So these are just foolproof. I love both of them, honestly. As you can see, my NYX one is teeny tiny. Lately, these have been my go-to brow pencils. Prior to these, my favorite for years and years, and I still love it, I still recommend it, is also from NYX, the Micro Brow Pencil. This is not a powder pencil. This is just like a traditional kind of waxy brow pencil. It's very tiny. It's much more precise than the powder pencils. So if you want to do like actual hair-like strokes, this would definitely be better for that. And they come in so many great shades. This is definitely very similar to the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is basically that, and it's fantastic as well. So these are always the pencils that I go for no matter what. I really don't switch this up. Now, if I had to pick one right now, honestly, it would be NYX Powder Louder because I love the powder pencil right now. And this is, like I said earlier, about half the price of the Anastasia one. So brow pencils are something I definitely think you can save money on. I don't think it's necessary to spend an arm and a leg on a brow product. It's also not a fun thing to spend money on. For me, if I'm going to spend more on a makeup product, a brow product is not really super fun to spend money on. So for that reason, I would opt for a drugstore pencil. This one would be my favorite right now. Now, in terms of a brow gel, I only have one. This is just the best. I always repurchase. I always go back to this one. Nothing that I have tried is the same as this, the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I've tried them. I've tried them all. I've tried the Rare Beauty Brow Gel. I've tried the Maybelline Brow Gel. I've tried the L'Oreal Brow Gel. I've tried the ColourPop Brow Gel. I feel like I've tried them all of the ones that you hear about. None of them are as good as this. There's something about this that just, it's perfect. It's a clear gel. It keeps my brows in place no matter what. It never looks thick or weird, like the weird white residue. I never have that in my brows. This is one thing. I know I just said I don't like spending a lot on brow products. I don't. I try to wait on this until there's a sale or something. Like this last year, Ulta put this on the 21 Days of Beauty, and I stocked up on it then, or I'll stock up on it during a Sephora sale. But it's just the best. I've tried so many, hoping to find something I like as much or more, and I just don't. So for the brow gel category, I only have one. All right, let's move into eye products. So I wanted to do a liquid and cream eyeshadow category, and honestly, these were super easy. I reach for all three of these all the time. Number one, this is probably the one I've mentioned the most on my channel, the Armani Eye Tints. I still consistently reach for these. This 18M is the shade. This, I've repurchased this. I've repurchased it at least twice, maybe 3 times. I can't remember. But this shade is just a perfect one and done that is kind of barely there, but it adds just a tiny bit of color. So that's it there. Yes, it's very boring, but it's perfect if you want to just even out the lids. Obviously for my skin tone, I can only speak to my skin. Sometimes I will then go over it with like a powder bronzer or some type of shimmery eyeshadow if I want to, but a lot of times I just use this. These Armani shadows are kind of like a creamy, moussey texture. So I will say, I think they wear better if you do add a little bit of powder on top, whether it's powder bronzer or just like one single powder eyeshadow. I do find if you don't and you have oily lids, you might get a little bit of creasing by the end of the day. Nothing crazy, but for that reason, I typically do try to put a little bit of something on top. My newest favorite, now these haven't been around that long, but I've talked about them in numerous videos at this point, the new MAC Multi-Sculpt Liquid Shadows. These are a very different formula to the Armani. So these are more matte, but the biggest difference is these are incredibly thin. Like I remember the first time I tried one of these, I could not believe how thin this formula is. And I don't know if the video will even do it justice, but it is so thin. I mean, it feels like absolutely nothing. And it sets down. So these are great as a primer. I actually have on this one in Painterly as a primer under my eyeshadow today. And they really do keep your shadow on. I don't have very much creasing or moving of my eyeshadow when I use these, but you can also just wear them alone and they're great that way as well because they're so thin and they do set down. They're really long wearing. I think these are phenomenal. My favorite one is Buffed Up, which is kind of a pinky shade. I don't know where it is right now, but that one's kind of a pinky nude. I love that one. And then I also love Painterly as a primer, which is what I did today. But these from MAC are great, especially if you have a lot of texture on your lids or you just want something that's like, you don't feel like you have like a thick layer of something on your eyes. These are great. And finally, number 3 are the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes, the cream shadows. These are also very different from the MAC and the Armani. Okay, these are a creamier, slightly thicker formula. Like they're very, very, very moussey. And these are extremely matte. So if you have dry lids, I probably wouldn't recommend these. They're great for oily lids though. If you struggle with keeping shadow on and you want like one single creamer liquid shadow, these are great. I have heard for that reason though, they can be a little bit drying on certain people. So I don't think, like I said, if you have dry lids, I wouldn't recommend these. I would get one of the other two. These are definitely best for long wear and oily lids. And I also think these wear the best on their own. I wouldn't really wear these as primer. I think because they are that kind of thicker moussey texture and they're very matte and they dry down, I just don't think they layer super well with powder eyeshadows over the top. So these I would wear alone. And they do dry incredibly fast. That's the other thing with these is you kind of have to work quickly. I would do one eye at a time, but once they set down and dry, they're there. They will not budge, they will last. I use Sandstone all the time. I use Sandstone like I use 18M. They're pretty similar to each other. I will say the Mario, I've had it a while. I've probably had it 6 months and I still have some left in here, but I have noticed it seems a little bit more dry now than it was when I first got it. So that's the only thing. This type of moussey texture I do think has a tendency to be a little bit drying, but for that reason they also last a really long time. But I just wanted to mention that. I do use Sandstone all the time. I also have Taupe and I love that one too. Those are my 3 most used cream and liquid shadows. Now, if I had to pick one, you know what? Lately, it's the MAC. I love the shades, number one, but I love how thin this formula is and that it sets and it stays. I think this is such a great launch from MAC. In fact, I think this is one of the best products they've launched in a long time. I think anybody would enjoy these that likes a liquid eyeshadow. All right, for single eyeshadows, powder single eyeshadows, I should say. Honestly, this was kind of hard for me. This kind of switches just depending on my mood, depending on the day. I did do a one and done single eyeshadow video a few months ago, I guess, that I can link for you, but currently the singles that I'm using the most. Number 1, MAC. This is the Extra Dimension eyeshadow, but it's in the shade Sweet Heat. I learned about this from one of the creators I follow on TikTok. Her name is Elizabeth. She uses this all the time and it is the prettiest, slightly rose gold, shiny shadow. Like, look at that there. Oh my gosh. See this like shimmer on my lid here? That's what you're seeing. I used this today. How pretty is that? And I love this because you can also use like a fluffy brush with it and get like a dusting of it and not like an opaque layer and get more of like a fairy dusting sparkly look. But I love the color because it kind of goes with everything. It's very neutral and it just gives you that beautiful like pop of wet shimmer on your lid, which I love. So this has definitely been a favorite, one of my most used right now. Another one from MAC. Now this is an old school eyeshadow and it's All That Glitters from MAC. Now this one is again a neutral shimmery shade, but this one is more metallic. This doesn't give you that wet look. This gives you just a little bit of sheen. So that is it right there. But it's not as intense and glistening looking as the Extra Dimension from MAC, but they are similar tones, just one's a little bit more shiny than the other one. This I love to wear just by itself. Sometimes I will just put this on with my finger and that's it. Sometimes I'll do it with a little bronzer in the crease. Sometimes I'll use this on top of like one of these Multi-Sculpts from MAC. It just kind of depends. But I love a good one and done, slightly shimmery shade. I'm always kind of reaching for that. So these are 2 that I use all the time. And then a new favorite for me is this one from Violet FR. These are the Plume eyeshadows. This is Lait Al Cafe. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it looks like this. So these are, they're called Feather Matte. These are so hard to describe. So that's the shade right there. Do you see how pretty it is? It has this gorgeous sheen to it, but it is matte. Kind of like I was saying with the MAC Multi-Sculpts, this is like a powder version in that it's so thin. Like when you swatch it, it feels like nothing. So that's it right there. It's a really nice, pretty neutral brown. Yes, it's boring. Yes, you know, we've all seen a neutral brown eyeshadow before, but these are so nice because you can literally take your finger, tap it on, you're good. You really don't need a brush. They are kind of meant to look undone, very soft, kind of like you just threw something on. It's supposed to look lived in, and they do. It's a beautiful, like no makeup one and done eyeshadow. I've really been enjoying it. There's a bunch of shades. I just love this nice neutral brown, but these are definitely the three I've been reaching for the most right now. If I had to pick one, I love Sweet Heat. This that I have on my eyes now, this like wet shine, I can literally put this over anything and it looks good. Doesn't matter what shadow it is. It's just like that last final step that kind of adds a little something extra to my eyes. I just love the shade. Love it, love the formula. This would have to be my favorite right now. All right, moving into eyeshadow palettes. So I've mentioned a few times recently that I haven't been as into palettes, I would say, really this year. I don't know, I love single shadows. I will reach for a palette every now and then, but I don't know what it is. I just really gravitate towards liquid and cream shadows and like single shadows like this. But the three that I went with, honestly, these three were very easy. I really didn't have to think about it. I honestly don't even have that many palettes anymore. I have a lot less than I used to, and I have a pretty small amount for somebody that makes beauty content. But I'm about to show you how boring I actually am. And a lot of you are gonna know exactly what they are. Number one's the most obvious, the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette, which luckily is now permanent, which I could not be happier about. I think this is the prettiest palette at Sephora, period. I recommend this to literally anyone that wants an eyeshadow palette. If you like shadow that is more diffused, more soft, kind of angelic is how I would describe this. Ethereal is a perfect name for it. The mattes in here they're pigmented, but they are not, I'm trying to compare it to something. They're not Pat McGrath level pigment, not anywhere close. They are buildable, but they're softer and very easy to blend, easy to apply. You really can't mess this palette up. I absolutely love it. The toppers in here are just, y'all know, I've talked about this 1,000,001 times. But we're going to talk about it again because this is consistently my favorite palette. I don't know if anything will ever top it, to be honest. The other ones that I do love though, and I reach for as well. Also from Makeup by Mario, the Master Mattes, but this is the neutrals one. So there's the original Master Mattes and there's the neutrals. This is the neutrals. I like this because this is every single matte eyeshadow you would ever need. You have a black, you have a dark brown, you have tons of transitional shades, you have some light shades for the lid, the brow bone, the inner corner. You even have this really nice like smoky gray. You could do so much with this and get a really beautiful all matte look, whether you want something really deep and smoky or really soft and everyday. You can do that with this palette. You really wouldn't need anything else, honestly, other than maybe like one single shimmery shadow if you want that option. I would say the matte formula in here is very similar to the Ethereal Eyes, but I feel like it's slightly different. I have no idea if that's true. I'm just speculating. I do think these are slightly more pigmented than the mattes in the Ethereal Eyes palette, but that's just my assumption. I have no idea. Still very buildable and easy to use though. I think This would be a great palette to have if you're a makeup artist or if you want just one great matte palette with every shadow you could ever need. This is it. And number 3. This is actually what I have on my eyes today for matte shadows, and it is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension Artistry Edit Light palette. Yeah, I know it's boring, but you know what? I can use all 6 of these shades. They are the perfect shades for my skin tone that don't look too much. This palette, I will say, runs pretty neutral. Other than like this brown right here is, I would say, on the warmer side, but the other shades in here pull very neutral, which is very difficult to find in an eyeshadow palette. Typically things run cool or they run warm. It's very hard to find something that's truly neutral. Like this shade and this pinky kind of beigey color, I have a little bit of those in my crease and outer corner. And then I took this slightly warmer brown and this slightly darker warmer brown. I mixed them and I did a little bit of that in the outer corner. And honestly, this shadow formula is very similar to the Mario. It's very soft, buildable, very easy to blend out if you're not great at shadow. This is a great beginner palette. It's very approachable. You only get 6 shades, but I love this. I consistently reach for it. Definitely a top 3, or worthy of being in the top 3. But y'all know, if I gotta pick one, I have to go Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes, because anything I would want to do with my eyeshadow, I can get with this palette. Dark brown, 3 toppers, slightly light to medium matte transitional shades, slightly deeper, medium deep shades, and this beautiful, like, pretty standard metallic. What more could you want? This is still my top favorite. All right, for eyeliners, super easy. Y'all probably know. Makeup by Mario, again, Master Pro Pigment Eyeliners. My favorite is this one. As you can see, this is Taupe. And I've spoken about Taupe before. Taupe is a really nice kind of cool toned gray brown that gives you a little bit of softer definition if you have light eyes, light hair, light skin. It's a little bit softer than a dark brown can be. So that is Taupe right there. I use this all the time for a little wing and in my waterline. This formula is great. I also love the Mario because you do get this little brush on the other end. This also does really well in the waterline. And it's a favorite. I consistently, as you can see, reach for this. If I run out of Taupe, I will absolutely buy it again. Love that one. I also like Bronze from Mario. It's just, it's not matte, obviously. It's more of a metallic shade. I'll swatch it for you. It's warmer. Really pretty though. Has a little bit of sheen to it. It's kind of like a light, kind of yellowy golden bronze color, but also really pretty. I use these all the time. However, y'all know I do love my Victoria Beckham, the Satin Kajal liners. So I have a few favorite shades. The one I have out right now is Orchid. So this is a really nice soft purple. It's not like a super saturated purple. It's a little bit softer, but if you have green eyes, this color is absolutely gorgeous. I get asked a lot if I like this better than the Makeup by Mario, and you know what? I used to would say I liked Victoria Beckham more, but honestly, I like them both. I get great longevity and I enjoy both. So honestly, they're tied. I think you'd like either one. It just depends on the shade really that you want. Victoria Beckham has so many shades and her shades are great. I also love Cinnamon and I also love Cocoa. So Cocoa, Cinnamon, and Orchid are my favorites of Victoria Beckham. They also wear beautifully in the waterline. And then the other one that I know I've talked about this here and there, but I don't know that I've talked about how much I use this particular liner, and it's from Laura Mercier. It's the Caviar Eyeliner Pencil in the shade Bronze. Now this is a different shade of bronze. I'll swatch it for you. In fact, this is actually what I have on my eyes right now. So this bronze is a little bit more green than the Mario bronze that's more yellow. So this one is kind of like a khaki bronze, so it looks a little bit green, which I love for my eye color. But my favorite thing about this stays the best in the waterline. I don't know why. It stays better than the Mario and it stays better than the Victoria Beckham. I think this is actually called a tight liner, I want to say. It doesn't say that on it, but I swear if you look it up on Sephora, that's what it says. It will last in the waterline, and it's incredibly creamy. It's not stiff or hard, so it's not uncomfortable to put in your waterline. I reach for this all the time. So these are definitely my top 3. Now, if I had to choose right now, you know what? It'd be Mario. It'd be Mario in taupe, because as you can see, this is the one I reach for the most. I love all 3 of these though. I use them all, but if I had to pick one, it'd be Mario. For mascaras, this was also pretty easy. e.l.f. Lash and Roll. This has been a favorite since it came out, like 3 years ago maybe. This is my go-to everyday, very soft, natural mascara. This gives you, it's basically like a lash tint. It doesn't do a ton in terms of volume or even length. It really just very lightly defines your lashes, separates a little bit, and that's it. It's not anything crazy, but sometimes I want just like a little something on my eyes just to define the lashes without it being a lot. That is what I use this for. Now, I will say, since I had my son, this does not hold a curl on me anymore, so that's the only thing. I used to not have that issue. Now I do have that issue with mascaras, but if I'm going for an everyday look, which is what this is good for, that is not that important, but I did want to point that out. It does not hold a curl on me anymore, but it's a great natural everyday mascara. Now, number 2 would be Lisa Eldridge Kitten Lash. I should also say this is the shade Brown. The Kitten Lash is the shade Burnt Umber, which is a really nice kind of reddish brown. This is very similar to the e.l.f. In fact, the wand is also very similar. You can see how pretty this tone is. It's a really nice warm brown. This gives a little bit more impact though than the e.l.f. This gives a little bit of length and a little bit of separation. Honestly, a little bit of volume too. It's just like an amped up version of the e.l.f. So if I want something a little bit more impactful, I would choose Lisa Eldridge. Something else I will say, for whatever reason, the Lisa Eldridge mascara lasts forever. It takes a long time for this to dry out. I had the black color first, and I feel like it took me forever to use that up. And then I bought the brown one. Same thing. I've had this open forever, and it just lasts. I don't know why. And number 3 is actually a new development for me, but I've spoken in one of my recent videos about how I'm just now getting into waterproof mascaras. The Maybelline Sky High Mascara in the waterproof in black brown has been my new obsession. I tried Sky High a few years ago. I liked it, but I didn't try the waterproof. I tried the waterproof, and I think I'm a waterproof mascara person now. It does hold the curl. I swear it does. It lengthens, it separates, and it does hold the curl, which, like I said, I've had trouble with that since I had my son. I don't know why. I guess my lash hair has changed. I don't know. But this will hold a curl, and it's a great mascara. It separates, it lengthens. The only thing is I wish it was brown and not black brown. For some reason, most waterproof formulas don't come in brown, but I'll take it. Black brown is okay. The only thing is it's hard to remove. I do have to work pretty hard to get this off, but you know, for days when I want to keep my lashes curled, this is what I'm going to go for now. If I had to pick one, now that is really tough. You know what? Right now it'd probably be Maybelline, because I want my lashes to stay curled. As much as I love these two, for whatever reason, I'm having a serious issue with my lashes now, and I do like them to stay curled most days. So for that reason, I think I will say the Maybelline, even though it is a pain to remove. That's the only thing. I love the effect. This one in waterproof, great mascara. If you have a favorite waterproof mascara, will you comment and let me know what it is? Because I'm into this now and I want to try more. All right, finally, let's move into the lips. We'll start with lip liner. of course, one of my favorite things, as y'all know, I have a problem with lip liners. I don't know what it is. I'm just in love with them, and there's never enough for me. There's not. I always want to try new ones, but I do have favorites. This was actually relatively easy for me to pick. First up, of course, longtime favorite again, still in my top 3, the Makeup by Mario Ultra Suede Lip Pencils. These have been a favorite for at least 3 years, maybe more than that, I'm not sure. He has the best shade range in lip liners as well. There are so many good ones. I love them so much. My favorites are Almond and Toasty. Almond is actually what I have on today. Toasty is a little bit more of a rosy brown. Almond is a little bit warmer. But these are just a standard wooden lip pencil, but they are perfect. So you have Toasty right there, Almond right there. There are so many good ones though. Travis, I love. Smoky Pink, I love. Hue, there's a mauve, Rich Mauve, love that one. There are so many good ones, and his also do come with the lip pencil or the lip brush on the end. They're very long wearing. They're not like the ultimate long wear, but they're pretty long wearing, and the shades are just perfection. So of course, Mario, my longest wearing, and for that reason I'm putting them in the top 3, are the YSL Kiss Shaper lip liners. 103 is my favorite shade. I love 103 because it's basically like my lip color. So it's easy to overline with this color, and it just kind of looks like my lips are naturally fuller because it's so close to my lip tone. But that is shade 103. These are incredibly matte. They're like a velvety matte when they go on. They're pretty creamy. They're matte, but they're creamy. But then when they dry, they are there to stay. They are long wear, transfer proof. These will last all day. So this is definitely a new favorite if you're looking for the ultimate like long wear without being like a lip stain. The YSL Kiss Shapers are incredible. And then my other favorite is, I would say, kind of a hybrid between the Mario and the YSL, and that is the Maybelline Lifter Liners. I have 2 favorites of this as well. I love the shade Big Lift, and I love the shade On It. These are a little bit creamier than the Makeup by Mario, but they're not as matte as the YSL. They're kind of right in between. Okay, we've got On It down here, Big Lift there. So On It is more nude brown, Big Lift is a little bit rosier. They're not quite as bulletproof as the YSL, but they're close. These really do last all day, and in my opinion, they're the best lip liner at the drugstore by far. So if you need a drugstore option, Maybelline is incredible. My ultimate favorite though, if I had to pick one, I gotta go Makeup by Mario because I just love these the most. The colors, I like just a standard wooden lip pencil. I love the brush on the end. I've loved them for years and I still do. So Mario would be my top pick if I had to choose. In terms of lipsticks, these you've probably heard me talk about, especially this one. But of course, number 1, Charlotte Tilbury, the Kissing lipstick, which is basically her like creamy hydrating lipstick formula. And my favorite shade is Naughty Talk by far. I've talked about this many times, but this is it's a perfect pink peach. It's not too pink, not too peach. It's right in between. It looks so good with all the lip liners that I love, like Toasty from Makeup by Mario, Almond from Makeup by Mario. This is just my perfect nude, and it's hydrating, which is what I like in a lipstick. I know a lot of you have bought this because of me. This started out as a limited edition shade, and now I believe it's permanent. I hope it's permanent. I actually bought a second one of these during the Sephora sale to keep in my purse, which I never do with lipsticks, if that tells you anything. So Charlotte Tilbury, of course. My other similar formula that I have loved for a long time is the MAC luster glass lipsticks. My favorite is Thanks It's MAC, which you can definitely see I have a type. So Thanks It's MAC, they're similar to each other. So this is Thanks It's MAC. This one is a little bit lighter, slightly more pink than Naughty Talk. Naughty Talk leans a little bit more of like a neutral peachy pink, but they're similar on the lips. And again, the MAC formula, very, very similar to the Charlotte. It's pretty hydrating. You get some pigment, but it's not like opaque pigment. And there are tons of pretty MAC shades as well. I just love Thanks It's MAC. So that would be my second one. And number 3 is actually very new. I tried this in a video a few weeks ago. This is new from Dior. This is the Dior Addict Glass Lipstick in the shade 504 Dior Sweet. So as you'll see, this is another very similar product. This is a little bit more sheer, I would say, in terms of the pigment than the other two, but you get a very similar effect. So that is shade 504 Dior Sweet. So you can see the kind of shades that I like. Dior Sweet is actually pretty similar to Naughty Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. It's just, I think, like slightly less pigmented and a little bit more shiny. This is like the ultimate glassy, wet, shiny lip product. It does have a really strong smell. It smells kind of good, but it has like a fruity, like a sweet, fruity scent. But I love this. This is actually what I have on now. And these have been my go-to lip products lately. But of course, my number one, if I had to pick, I am loyal to Naughty Talk. I love it. I've talked about it so many times, but it's just my perfect nude lipstick. So ultimately, I would pick this one. And finally, lip gloss. I love lip gloss. I love gloss a lot more than lipstick. I'm much more of a liner and gloss person. These are incredibly easy. Number 1, Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Toffee. This is my go-to lip gloss. I have like 4 of these. I have one in here. I have one in my purse. I have one in my bathroom. And I think I have another one floating around somewhere. But this formula is just a perfect gloss. The shade is perfect. This is the shade Toffee. And these glosses from Maybelline smell like vanilla. It's really nice, sweet vanilla scent. They are just perfect. And this nude goes with everything. You can see it's like the same tone as those lipsticks that I just showed you. It's just my perfect nude gloss that I always have with me. But I love the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in general. I also love Moon. I also love Ice. But Toffee is my absolute favorite. Number 2, I actually left it in my purse, so I'll just pop it up here on the screen, but it's my Dior Lip Maximizer. Also a longtime favorite in the shade 38 Rose Nude. It is very similar to Toffee from Maybelline. The Dior one, I think, gives a little bit more pigment, and it does have a slight tingling sensation, like a plumping sensation. The Maybelline ones do not, which I like glosses with plump. I like glosses without plump. I don't really care, but that is a pretty big difference between the two. I love my Dior gloss. That's why it's in my purse, because I take it with me quite a bit, and it's been a favorite for years. That one's probably been my favorite gloss for the longest, and I still love it. I still use it. Number 38 is my favorite. And my newest gloss favorite are the Lawless Forget the Filler glosses. I've just kind of gotten into these in the last few months. I have a few of them. This is the one I use the most, which is Velvet. These are much thicker than the Maybelline and the Dior, but these give your lips wet, juicy, plumped, all the words, all the things. This gloss gives them that. It does have a slight tingle, but it's nothing crazy. So that is the shade Velvet there. It's a really nice kind of cooler toned mauve pink. But these are these are thick, and these are not like a you're not gonna feel anything on your lips kind of product. You're gonna know these are there. But honestly, I don't mind a thicker gloss, because typically thicker glosses, stickier glosses do last a little bit longer on the lips. So for that reason, this Lawless gloss I would say is the longest wearing of the three. If I had to pick though, my go-to gloss is Maybelline in Toffee. I just can't be without this. Like I said, I have like 4 of them at this point. I have family members that have all bought Toffee because of me. Yeah, and I know a lot of you have bought Toffee as well because I recommended it. It's just my go-to. So if I had to pick, gotta go with my Maybelline. And that is everything. That is my top 3 in every makeup category. Today was brows, eyes, and lips. I already did part 1, which was all of my base products and all of my cheek products. So I will link that above for you. If you haven't seen it, make sure to check out part 1 as well. This was so much fun. It's been a while since I've done a top 3 on my channel, and I loved sharing my top product from each top 3 as well. I've never done that before, but a lot of you suggested that I do that. So hope you enjoyed this. I will make sure to link everything that I talked about today in the description box, and I will link it in YouTube shopping up on the screen for you. I try to link as many things there as I can because I know a lot of you like to just click the screen and it'll take you directly to the product instead of trying to get into the description box, but I have both options for you. And if you do shop through my links, I do make a commission that supports my channel, so thank you so much for that. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe and make sure to follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1, and I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you.